So, with that being said, it's very important that you have a solid foundation before you get married. And if you haven't gotten the chance, maybe you've learned some things as you go, and you discover some things, and you read up on some things, and you've gotten more information. And if you get more information, you can do better. When you know better, you do better. So I wanted to elaborate on intimacy because just getting to the nitty gritty side of it, I was talking about like trauma. But let's talk about the positive side of it. Let's talk about the fact that, let's say, in a perfect world, there's your spouse is very romantic, your spouse is very intimate, they're very touchy feely, they like to cuddle, they like to be in your presence, and nobody likes to be in their spouse's presence all the time. There's nothing wrong with self care, there's nothing wrong with alone time. But when it's time to be intimate with each other, it's time to be intimate with each other. That means, and it doesn't always have to be sex, but sex is a very good part of it. Making sure that you and your spouse are patient with each other, and making sure that both of you are comfortable with each other, because being comfortable in a sexual relationship is important. You want to be comfortable with showing your spouse your body. You may have some insecurities about your body. You may not like certain things about how you look or how your body is shaped. I know a lot of women struggle with their body shape. But ladies, let me tell you, men like what they like and they love what they love. My husband says that all the time. And let's just be real. You didn't A lot of us change as we go on, but when he met you and he saw your shape, he saw your face, he's seen all the blemishes, all the blotches, all the acne, all of the whatever, birthmarks or whatever that's on the outside. Maybe he didn't see underneath the clothes because you waited, or until you guys were ready to be intimate. But he has seen your face. He has seen your face. It wasn't like back in the day when you got married and you flipped the veil and it was a surprise. No. Now, there are instances out here where there are people out here wearing a lot of makeup, putting on a lot of foundation and makeup, and then when they take off the makeup, they look totally different. Unfortunately, guys, that is out here. And hopefully, before you say I do, you get to see the real person behind the makeup so you can make an accurate decision. And ladies, you got to be honest with these men out here. You have to be honest. If you got a whole lot of makeup and you're at the club or library or church or wherever you're going to meet your significant others, when y'all get into a part of a relationship where you are close to each other and you're actually building a relationship with this person, it is imperative that you are honest with this person. You do not keep putting the makeup on, and if you know you look totally different from what you look like when you put your makeup on, you need to be honest with your soon to be spouse. Don't say I do and you're not who you say you are. That is a part of being deceptive. And you cannot do that in a marriage. You cannot lie to your spouse in a marriage. It will not be successful. And that is a part of lying. Don't get it twisted. Don't try to sugarcoat it. That is lying. If that is not how you look when you wake up in the morning, or when you go to bed at night and you take all of that stuff off of your face, he needs to see that. And gentlemen, same thing with you. She needs to know your flaws. She needs to know your hangups. She needs to know what you struggle with. If you had some type of problem, drugs, alcohol, that's extreme, but if you have a toenail that was missing and your toes look gross, or if you've had some injury that happened when you were a younger person and you've got this ugly scar or something, when you all have decided that you are going to be in an intimate and loving relationship, honesty has got to be number one, because you cannot be intimate with somebody that you cannot trust. There is no way that you can be intimate with somebody that you don't trust. If this person is lying to you now, how much are they lying to you in the relationship? How can you feel close and feel intimate with that person if you cannot trust them? So we need to be making sure that before we jump into these relationships, and before we're saying I do, and before we're getting into intimate relationship, that we are completely and utterly honest with each other about everything. This is just for the ones who are serious. Now, a lot of times we don't do that. So we've bypassed and we've gotten to this relationship, and now we have no idea who's lying in the bed next to us. What are you going to do? Well, the divorce rate is super high right now. And there's a lot of things that have gone in to contribute to the divorce rate. But I believe that communication and honesty is one of the number one causes of divorce, because people are not always receptive to hear some of the things that their significant other has to tell them, and sometimes they're not receptive to hear about their own flaws, you know. But accepting somebody for who they are, flaws and all, is not always easy. So please make sure we're being honest with each other before we say I do. And then if we after we said I do and we weren't being honest, you guys gonna have to eventually come to grips, and something's gonna happen, because marriage is an entity from the Most High, and God is an honest, trustworthy God. Eventually, all your flaws are gonna come out. The spouse is going to find out. You cannot hide it. Maybe you're good at hiding stuff, and maybe you've gotten away with it for some time, but eventually, the truth will come out. Done in the dark will definitely come to the light. And hopefully it comes to the light before it gets to the point where it's kids involved, homes have been bought, lives have been made, you know. Let's getting back to the physical side of intimacy. Again, we discussed just shortly, briefly, about if there is medical issues going on. You know, you want to make sure that you're making sure that your body is in good condition to be intimate with your spouse, because sex is very physical. Sex is physical. It takes a lot of energy. It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of breathing. It's a lot of sweating. It's a lot of intense movements and erotic situations. So we want to make sure that our hearts and heads and bodies can take the pressure and take the pain sometimes. Not I'm not talking about physical as in medical pain. That is for women, gentlemen, if you don't know, sometimes it's a pleasurable pain, and so it's all mostly all pleasure for men. I've talked with my husband, and it's all pleasure for him. But sometimes you get somebody who's well endowed, or somebody who is a little bit heavier than you, or somebody that's gotta, may like it a little bit rougher than you like. So there's some pleasurable pain that might be involved. Make sure that these are okay with your spouse before you go any further into the intimate relationship. Because if she doesn't, let's say this, if she likes it rough, let's switch it around, because they always put the roughness on the guys. Let's put the roughness on the women. She may like it rough. She may like to be spanked. She may like to be scratched. She may like to be, I don't know, pinched a little, or whatever case may be. And it could get a little kinky out there. And he may be very, 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 very conservative. Very conservative. He only likes it one way. He only likes it in one room. He only likes it if there is silence or no music or whatever the case may be. You guys need to be making sure that you know what your partner expectations are when it comes to intimacy. It can really destroy your marriage if you're not honest about what you like. And it could go very, very deep, very deep. And I'm just scratching the surface, guys. This is just tips. I'm not digging all into your relationship. These are just tips. So communication, again, is key. Patience is key. Finding out what your spouse does and doesn't like is key, and govern yourselves accordingly. Be, but also be open. If your spouse is telling you some suggestions that they like and you've never tried it before, you know, don't knock it till you try it, okay? If it's something that's out there, way, way out there, you might have to talk about it a little bit longer. Maybe seek professional help if it's something that's out there. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that might be way out there. But don't just cut your spouse off and say, oh my God, this is terrible. You're awful and you're a sick person. I'm never doing that. Talk to somebody first. Find out why your spouse is into something like that. And then find out if there's something that there's a compromise that can happen. For instance, I'll give you an example. She may like to be spanked with certain type of toys, but you on the other hand, the male is very conservative. He grew up in a very staunch situation, a very conservative environment, so he's never heard of anything like that before, and it. But he's madly in love, excuse me, with his wife. There may be a small compromise that could happen. Maybe we don't have to use any tools, but maybe we can use our hands. Maybe he feels like it's a little bit more intimate, it's just body to body or skin to skin, as opposed to using other erotic toys or things like that. So these are some things that you could discuss with your spouse before you get into, or with your engaged, if you're engaged with your significant other, before you say I do. But if you haven't done it and you already said I do, you all need to be discussing this stuff. Intimacy is very important in a marriage. I don't think a marriage can survive without it. If you are out there and there's somebody who has been married for a long period of time without being intimate, by all means, please correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I have seen, heard, and been through in my 28 years of marriage, I don't believe that marriages can survive without intimacy. It is a must. It is a must. Ladies, we have got to be giving our men their due. The body belongs to him and not you. And his body belongs to you and not him. So you have got to be giving it up. And gentlemen, you got to, put the work in. If she likes certain things, put the work in. Learn how to be romantic. Learn how to be intimate if you don't know. You may be naive. You may not have the experience, or nobody have taught you. You need to find some sources that will teach you how to be intimate. And she will teach you. And he will teach you too, ladies. If you all love each other, there's nothing wrong with learning from each other. Learning dislikes, learning likes, and coming to a beautiful compromise to make love with your spouse. So that was marriage tips number part 2. I hope I helped a little bit with everybody. If you have any questions, I think you've been live streaming now. So if you have any questions, any comments, please send them to me. If you want the link to my website for my product, please, by all means, send that out to me and I will get that information to you. So until then, you guys have a great day and a wonderful week. Until next week, deuces.